And now on the line is Sally Galiana. Sally is the radio coordinator of Near FM. Sally, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Darren.
Sally, we are doing this interview today because Near FM are 30 years old this year, and the anniversary was marked last week in the Mansion House. Can you tell me, first of all, Sally, how you found the event in the Mansion House last week?
Well, I found the event quite interesting and exciting in some ways. There were a lot of people attending, some of them from the very, very first broadcast of Near FM, like the first voice that was on the radio was in attendance. And also the more recent members of the organization, so the new producers and presenters were in attendance. It shows the great diversity of the radio station. Well, I think of our community, if you want to call it like that, the community in Near FM.
Okay, that's great, yeah. Okay, Sally, I'm not sure how long exactly you're involved with Near FM, but in your own personal opinion and the opinions of others in the station who are involved with the station a long time, can you tell me if you are happy with the evolution of the station over the last 30 years?
Yeah, I have been with Near FM since 1997, so it's going to be 28 years now, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, quite a long time, yes. So, am I happy? Yes, I am happy in some ways. When I joined Near FM, the space was tiny. At the start, there was a big office and very small studios, okay? And over the 30 years, we have moved the location of the studios twice. We are now in the Northside Civic Center, which is a very nice building. We have been there since 2003. And we have just refurbished the studios, so they are fully digital now. And they look amazing. So that's from the technical part, obviously. The technical side has evolved amazingly. The production also, when I joined Near FM, we broadcasted from 12 to midnight, and then weekends. And since 1996, since 2006, it started broadcasting 24 hours, which is great. Yes, sorry.
Go ahead. The facilities the station has are brilliant, aren't they, in the Civic Centre in Coolock, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. I think that, if we are talking about the evolution, I think the organization has really evolved, have learned how to adapt to times, but obviously I have to be critical about the support, mostly the financial support from the state. Obviously, we basically live of public funds from different sources, because being based in Dublin and being a community radio with a very limited reach area on FM, it doesn't really allow you to get a lot of advertisement. Advertisement goes mostly to national or commercial stations. So we depend greatly on the support of grants that we have to apply for, and we have to fulfill the conditions and then report back, which is a lot of paperwork, obviously. But I think things would be better if there was a more direct support for community radio from the government, from the state, because I believe that really the state talks about diversity and plurality in media, but really if you look at the ownership of media in Ireland, you can see there is a big concentration of media, and really the only ones that are providing that plurality and diversity in Ireland is community radio. not only from the point of view of ownership, but also on the participation, the voices that you hear on the radio, the accents. You have people from different communities, different nationalities, and different points of view, which is kind of refreshing at a time where all the information seems to come from news agencies and is very much mediated. So what you get at the end basically is it suits a particular agenda, and it really doesn't reflect the reality in the local area.
And just connected with what you're saying there, Sally, like to talk about radio in general, there has been huge change in the radio landscape in Ireland and around the world over the last 30 years, hasn't it? I'm thinking of things like social media and that kind of stuff, hasn't there?
Yes, I suppose that social media is playing a role in, maybe more people are getting their information. Well, I wouldn't say information. More people are being influenced by social media, because I don't feel that what you get in social media really is news or information. It's basically opinion. So we use social media in ERFN as a way to actually promote the work that we do. I wouldn't call it social, because if you think about it, basically what happens when you are using one of those platforms is you're sitting mostly in a room, by yourself. The social element really is more about sharing, but sharing together in some ways, learning together. I don't think there is a lot of learning on social media. As I said, I think there is a lot of manipulation. And so I'm not really a fan, as you can see. It's making it more difficult. I think, for example, I would say it's more a streaming platform maybe present a bigger challenge to radio, to traditional radio, because people are listening to podcasts and music there, and sometimes that means that they don't listen to the radio. However, more and more people is realizing, including artists, are realizing of the importance of radio, because, for example, all those bands and musicians that you listen to on Spotify, for example, or Apple Music or wherever, they only get a tiny, tiny portion, of the revenue from the music being used by their platforms. While if the music is played on the radio, the revenue is much more higher. So really, and also another thing, if you're using one of those platforms, you have to pay for it. Radio is free. So So the only problem is, I suppose, that, there is another issue. Why is young people not listening so much to radio anymore? Maybe because it doesn't reflect on their interest. Also because there is not a lot of young voices on radio. So basically they don't see themselves represented, and that's why they are turning probably to this, TikTok or broadcast or Spotify or those kind of platforms.
I think podcasts are great. I don't, even though I'm involved in AirFM as well, I don't listen much to any radio station or even television station live, but I do listen to podcasts occasionally. And at the same time, I don't drive a car, so anytime I'm in a car with my friend or my dad, we usually turn the radio on and listen to radio then, but I'm not in the car very often, but I would listen to radio if I was in the car. But I think podcasts are great for kind of like if there's a radio or television program on for an hour, instead of watching the whole program, you might only watch 2 or 5 minutes of it, focusing on one part that you're interested in. I think that's great. Do you?
Well, I think podcast is very much like reading a book. They are really excellent, but they only give you kind of a specific, let's say, vision of a specific item. While if you listen to radio, obviously because there is a dial there and there are different options, you can listen to different things. So I think obviously there is a clear difference between a radio program, a news radio program, and a podcast. Okay, you can be listening to a podcast about Trump and the tariffs, okay, which is very specific about that. If you're listening to the radio news at this time, probably you're listening to the genocide of, in Palestine. You may be listening to the Putin and meeting the Chinese leader. You may be listening to the EU lack of action in relation to the genocide. So there is a lot more information going on. Podcasts are great, but as I said, it's like basically reading a book. Okay, so yes, I like this podcast. I like this voice. I like this opinion. So it's very specific and personal in some ways, while radio is much more open and sometimes much more challenging to a listener.
And as well as that, over the last 10, 20, 30 years, there's been a huge growth with digital, in the number of radio stations with digital radio, hasn't it, Sally?
Digital radio, do you mean radio online?
I mean, like the number of stations that are available. Like, I mean, on the internet, like there's digital. I think it's called digital audio broadcast radio, which means that some people who drive cars have a huge number of international radio stations they can listen to. So it's not just like Irish. Yeah. So
okay, so you're talking about yes, digital radio like that, like yeah. So yes, I think RTE, for example, did have an experiment. They have several stations broadcasting using the digital technology, which was called DAB, DAB. Okay, but they closed some of them. Some in Europe, in a lot of countries, actually, digital broadcasting is happening already. In some parts of Germany, for example. In Spain, it happened here in Ireland, has happened for television. It hasn't happened for radio yet, okay? Again, in some ways, you have to think, what is the interest of this, okay? The problem with this system is that it's really expensive, so it's not really affordable for community radios to go into this kind of multi-platforms, okay, for digital broadcasting. So it's a challenge for community radios first. For example, Dublin Community Television is not on the digital box, okay? They are on cable, but the government didn't support them to go into the digital platform because obviously a community television channel doesn't have the revenue to be able to afford nearly €1 million, okay, to go on it. So that's one of the things. Then you have to think, why is, as I said, FM is okay in Ireland because there is not a lot of competition. You know, if you go into the dial, there is a lot of empty space still. So there is not so much pressure for digitalization of radio broadcasting in Ireland at the moment. Okay, but the only pressure is from basically the network companies. Okay, so the mobile phone companies. Okay, they want to appropriate the FM transmission for their own use, and that's probably where the most of the pressure comes from. Okay. It's true, it's great to have digital radio, and even if it's not digital, if you have a smartphone, there's a lot of apps that will allow you to listen to different radio stations across the world, and also some community radio stations even. Okay, so that's great. But the only thing is, I want you to consider the same thing. When you're listening to digital radio, okay, well, you need to have basically an internet connection, okay, to be able to access it. And that it comes to a cost. If you are listening to FM radio, apart from the initial cost of getting the radio itself, okay, and the little energy cost that maybe of having the radio plug-in and functioning is free otherwise. So just think about that, okay? I think it's important to consider that, yes, some commodities come to a price, and if the price is not paid by the consumer, probably sometimes it's paid by the producer, okay?
Okay. Okay, it's very interesting hearing all that information from you, Sally. I wasn't really too up on the whole DAB thing, you know. It was great talking to you again today. Before you go, Sally, is there anything you want to tell our listeners about any new programs or initiative on Near FM over the next few months leading us into the next year?
Well, the main thing, I suppose, is that we are going to try doing what we have been doing so far. But we are always looking to opening the doors to people that may share our vision and they may have a love for radio and that they want to share their interest using the radio medium. So if you are all for diversity and inclusion, if you want to learn how to use a radio studio and produce a radio program, and you want to have a voice on radio, you are very welcome to join Near FM. So just keep in touch. If you can basically email us. Our webpage is near.ie or nearfm.ie. You can call us on 01867 1190. You can email the section at near.ie if you are interested in knowing how to join us. And obviously, we want to hear from you. And we invite everyone, as I said, everyone who is for inclusion and diversity and empathy and solidarity, all those things that seems at the moment so bad by, people like Trump. We want you in our side, okay? Because obviously, that's the voice, that's the message that we want to put across, okay?
Seo é Radio Pobl Tuisgurt, Baile Átha Clia, Near Nóca FM.
Agus inisir an lína tá céan an muirí, tá céan in a cuarta háid an chócham an néir. A céan fáilte ascríú an sláir?
Gur mí mágad.
A céan bhí ócád a Jack an ard bhéir an Jack an Chocatcha ag Celóra Near FM a suchta bheith trug a blian ar an bhád im lína. An ócád wai a bhí an bhéidir rá?
Bhí sé go hálan ar fád. Bhí sé ar aus is íontach an rudé an a bheits a Mansion House agus bhí mar an buíocht an ard bhéir Ray McAdam margheall ar an cura agus an deis chun a bheith ann chun Celóra trug a blian. Is áit den scothé má tá is ag na héistóirí is just siomra mór galanta é agus duch agus bíad den sco chomá. So tá mud an a broadú las an deis chun a bheith ann chun an áchaid mór sin na Celóra.
Okay, agus céiceó fada is atá tú baintach le Near FM chéan agus ceismhór an bhfuil tú sásta le dul chun cín an stáisiún na trucha bliana nuas?
Well, it's a size ga ceist mór é sin. Is dócha ó haimh an bhfuil mé sásta leis dul a raisirí sé an teach an ard bhéire ag an ócháid sin. No duine bhí a caintnar bhí mar ann is sais na gná creaaltóirí Near FM agus támid an a broadú as is a déanamh an rud muid hain agus is é sin an rud is táhachtaí is na daoine féin agus nuair a bhí mar ann thula mar píasa ó duine atá an nua ann is mac léinn a choláiste dúlaigh sin i Sarah Fitzgerald agus tá si is ban óg den scothí agus déanann si chlár ceol agus de bhí sé caint faoin chuna sa fuairsaí an deis chun chlár radio dhéanamh. Agus is even lom na scéalta sin na cléistáil duine atá smaoinmh brabhlam sa bheith anna sin dhéanamh chuna sa déanamh bhfuil an Shantown connection dhéanamh agus is dócha go bhfuil sé rud a den darmid faoi ní rud éasca é áit all agus chlár radio cur láthair ach is fé le rud mar sin dhéanamh le Níor FM agus is tá sé antáhaach freisin go bhfuil daoine nua ann ach daoine atá ann le fada an lá agus bhí an cisteoir leis an cócom an Vincent Teeling ag leabhart freisin ar an ihe mór sin agus teint sé reis beag nach chuig na hochtadaí nuair bhí sé ina dégór óg sna sean pirate a bhí ann sois an tús Níor FM sular raibh Níor FM ceart ann ach is ionach an rud go bhfuil duine mar sin treéis 10 bliain fós ag ghlach apart agus fós sásta an tama hort sulas chun a bheith a céisteoir mar ní hééis sin an job I mean a cuid is mód na daoine a géirí dhéanamh so an é sin cad a bhí mé rá me féin tá mé an broúil as Níor FM agus as an job atá déinte a going agus an job atá a dennis is dócha is sais an rud chuann sé glunder ar mo choirí better ní gach éon lá ach a cuid is mód now is á speisialta é agus is tócha go fáin tú rud mar sin freisin lá an radio pobl seans má go bhfuil an rud céin I radio na lifa nó áis na tíre Italy aigen is sais charman é doghine tá daine ná an tacht agus tá siad ná a rud féin a dhéanamh ceol féin a dhéanamh agus tá siad ná a bheith broúil as an cultúr nó as an cáhhaimse atá acu agus is áid sa saoáilte chun cuasaí ratha a phlé comá ó hé saoáilte de is dócha go bhfuil sin oscailte ach saoáilte de gachéin duine ó ceann an dahan tá fáilte mór teach Níor FM agus tá sé sin an táhaach dúin comá bín chláracha ann a teangacha agsúla on pay on Poland or on Nigeria or on China no payos agus gan hours been only art specialist on Gaeilge comá agus tá sin read how talk doing it in Níor FM freshen so an I sin fragger
Táiste gom ghfuil cean go mór gibh mar dúirtú le chláiste dúlaigh chlás scribhanm drastal mé ar chláiste dúlaigh os chun fit blian ó hinna fá gá bhliain ag déanamh ar seoireacht agus scribhanm chlár chuirla chéile sa chláiste ar son chun dul amach ar Níor FM so bhainna mar taitneamh sin mar bhí is gon go raibh sé á chréile so one of our taitneamh sin is scribhanm na léanta sin Okay, agus ó héamh radio gcuiteanna Ciarán tá áirithe mór tagte le trochar bliain nuas nach bhfuil tá ag suaimh mar hampla fí fodcréiltí nach bhfuil?
Is dócha is lí amháin I tinte go bhfuil áirithe tagte margheall ar cuasaí technoliaachta an taobh eile de is fós an rud is tábhachtaí ná na daoine féin agus teach le chéile na daoine agus an ranfartíocht agus I gobar mar irin agus an stuff mar sin ach gan áras tá stuff mar podcréile an tábhaach agus ná den darmid go raibh Níor FM an céad stáisiún radio in éireann chun podcréile úsáid bhád siar sular raibh RTE déanamh é nuaon duine so gan áras I mean an sean radio atá ar Níor FM tá sé sin fós tábhaach ach gan áras an stuff a déanamh ar podcréile tá sé sin tábhaach freisin agus tá tradiisiún cús ag láidir a going déanamh a lán podcréilte le agriochtaí éagsúla cosúla foster care Ireland agus Eveness an Women's Refuge agus roint denna drugs task force dramana chomá so ó héamh an obair atá with a déanamh leis an so NGOs is dócha tá podcréiltí sin anhá freisin agus tá bína gcónaí stuff ann ó heh cuasaí cultúrtha freisin rinne mar srá fada den sco leis an Goethe Institute im lá clia. Agus bhí sin fecin there an nasc idir cultúr na hÉireann agus cultúr an Ghearmáin agus den daoine darmid go bhfuil like a lán daoine an Ghearmáin in a cónaí im lá clia agus in éireann ach you know being áit ann the piece of spree comma agus is even lin fecin there car blá clia agus cadíad na rudí a mínar siúl go rialta rudí den sco ach ní léisisin tú mór an faoi ar an radio better ní léisisin tú foic faoi agus bhí mar a caint leis an Hugh Lane Gallery agus tá ceol chur an gach mad an downach beidir sais ceol classical nua piece of jazz piece of folk sais an slí sin agus bhí mar rá ó bhfuil ein duine ag denmh tafad den ceol sin nó bhfuil ag creile iad san agus dúirt siad nó ní lein ní déanaan ein duine sin so bar mar bevrálin é sin a dhéanamh so le takeíocht don céim fi agus fum bin me de dennis na ceol chum sin agus ben siad le cléistáil in is ar near FM agus is stocha is piasa sais tábhachtach don cultúr bailile clia agus in istá sé le fáil ar near FM agus ní raibh sé le fáil ar near FM agus beidir chun dul ra sé do cheist ní dóilm go bhfuil mór an difriocht beidir go bhfuil tú géisteach in is ar podcréile seachas a géisteach ar radio FM ag fós féin agus is sto go freisin go bhfuil an social media an táhachtach sa lá tá nu ann ach beidir gur chuic an man sosiálta sin áit nachhfuil mór an winning a gin é sin beidir gohfuil sé goach mar pí a síimsíocht a go heh ólas má tá tú a géirí go bhfuil an álas crin go bhfuil winning a go cín kickom ma agus a bhfuil tú an ann cuasaí ratha a phlé ní dóilm go bhfuil an man sosiálta go má chun an stuff mar sin a dhéanamh so is lí aigen is sais beagnach go bhfuil an tradiisiún atá ag Near FM níos táhachttaí mar tuigeann tú nuair a fáin tú an tólas ó Near FM go bhfuil tú ná é sin a chreidúnt so is lí aigen tá stuff mar sin níos táhachttaí ná riamh níl sam bhfuil é sin freagar dod ceist but
bhí rih caiinteát aniu bhí sa caiinte salí Galiana agus bhí si ag rán sort bhil céine faoin na man thoisialta le aontaíonn si go bhfuil podcréaltaí don cuid is mó go hionach ach go héh play ar na man thoisialta tá is gom go bhfuil a lán diúltagus an you know
yeah
okay bhí si just caiinteát aniu ar chéan a rís tá tú sort lá taréis an ceisio a ragars ceishéarnach ach sudar imíonn tú ar bhhaile intin darnéistóirí faoin chláir nua a bheith teachtar ar Near FM sa mína támachrán nó éon trons gonmh nua eile tána teachtar an sáisiún
Bhín gcónaí stuff nua agus roiint in a daine a bhí mar caint faoi mar Sarah an bhanóg sin bhí chlár nua ag Sarah chlár ceol bín roiint stuff ag teas go lua fan go bhaic mé Tá mar a tosnúla srá an man for rís le Mick-Léinn ó Choláiste Dúlaigh agus be mid a fecint ar an man cumarsáid a féin is sais inúcha faoin cattá arsúil leis an man cumarsáid agus bei na Mick-Léinn féin a cuar ceisina ar sanolaithe éagsúla tá chuin faoin tuarascóirí nó daine ón comisiún na man féin nó beidir daine ón hólscolanna atá gobar le cuasaí na man so bei sin simú éisteach le daine óga agus iad sin ag phlé tóchaí na man cumarsáide lena sanolaithe so tá sú go mór le sin agus a rís is íontach an rud é chuna bheith ag obair le Mick-Léinn agus le Choláiste Dúlaigh a rís an bína gcónaí cóhaidbrú íontach a going le Choláiste Dúlaigh.
Ag luí tú an ghfuil go hana féin ach bíonn si bh gcónaí sásta dlacha le sarádathe le Gaeilge freisin nach mín.
Kinte, agus is stoka just focal score. Fi Tomás McRory parts in near FM Fado agus Gaeilge a Nuri is stoka ach tá tradiisiún an tradiisiún larger in near FM o hef an Gaeilge de. Agus better an focal dernach. Tá sé cotáhatóch sin gur will a land an ober dainte Jonach tá Derek agams a grabation mar job. Ach den a dini den an ober Jonach agus time kind frin a dini in the kishti. Gahara on Cahirloch Declan Cahill is far Artulo Kulo Gay agus is far den Scohe agus Sabrina Ryan is shisha on Rooney and Gusta agus is dini mar shin the Cornish jog on maid ober agus tá on piece of Jonach shin den radio pubble co tawa ta freshen.
Radio Pubble, do Gaeilge le Ciarán her huig.